Hello, welcome back to another episode of BBQ.
And some.
Today we are doing a sous vide rump cap with garlic, lemon, broccolini, honeyed carrots and potatoes. Let's get started. So we're just going to trim the meat and then rub it with hardcore carnivore black, our favourite rub.
Gloves. They're not the cool black ones, but they'll have to do. So what we're doing is we're taking off the actual fat cap here, because when we're sous videing it, it's not going to get the chance to render properly and it's not going to taste too good when it comes out the other end. So I choose the rump cap because it's a beautiful tender piece of meat that if it's slow cooked and cooked properly comes up super duper tender. The plan is we're going to pull all this fat off and then we're going to sous vide it at 55 degrees for 6 hours. That will cook it all the way through to 55 degrees. We'll then pull it off, pull it out of the sous vide, and we will sear it off on the barbecue. So that's how we get to keep our barbecue creds. Now this is a tiny piece of meat. It's only 1.2 kilos, but that's just because I'm feeding myself, the boy, and the missus tonight. You can do this method with literally any weight piece of meat you can. I've gotten some eye fillet and sous vide it, and it's like 2 or 3 kilos worth. Sous vide it and then done the exact same process. It comes up an absolute treat. When cutting off this silver skin, I often find it's easy to just find an edge, poke underneath it, gently, gently, gently until you come out the other end. See, then flick it up and then just angling the knife slightly up, working your way across the meat. And that way, see, you get some, but not much. And you'll get better at it too. See, yonk, yonk, there. You can get fundamentalist about this, but I'm happy with that. You can keep going forever, but that's good enough.
So now that we've trimmed the meat, all we need to do is put this in a tray or a plate of your choice and rub it with your preferred seasoning.
I love hardcore carnivore black. It's just an excellent all-rounder for any sort of red meat. I use it a lot, not on my briskets, but on virtually every other thing. You want to liberally rub your rump cap with the rub of your choice. All right, that's enough. Turn her over. Just pat it on. There you go, look at the sides. Good. Some of you might be wondering what a sous vide is. A sous vide is basically a bath of water kept at a stable temperature. I use 55 degrees because 55 degrees is rare. You put the meat in a sealed, vacuum sealed plastic bag, place the meat into the bath of water and leave it in there for hours. I like to leave it in for at least 5 hours, but my understanding is you can leave it in there for quite a bit longer than that, and it'll even be done in like a few hours shorter than that if the meat isn't particularly cold when you put it in the first place. You can buy a sous vide relatively cheaply from Amazon. I'm sure I picked up this Inkbird one for less than $100 on Amazon, a year or two ago. You'll get to see how it works very soon. Right now we're going to vacuum seal this meat so you can see that first stage of the process. If any of you have done any vacuum sealing in the past, it's just that. So we've got a relatively cheap and cheerful vacuum sealer with a roll of bags. And what you do is you cut the bag to length. There we go. Then you'll place the meat into the bag and then seal it up. Me being the paranoid person I am, I always double seal with 2 lines. No need to put any moisture in the bag. Enough moisture comes out of the meat to keep it tender. And yeah, let's go to the next step. One of the traps is to try and avoid getting too much material on the rim of the bag, because that makes it difficult to seal. And yeah, look, once again, I've made the bag really too big. Didn't need to be that big. We could even have turned it this way. One thing you want to do is make sure that whatever you've got in the bag is flat and flush against the ground. You can put multiple objects in the same bag. You just have to make sure that it's only a single layer. I find that works best. To make sure you get a good seal, I always just clean off the inside of the rim of the bag, because these rubs have got such beautiful big chunky pieces of pepper and salt and garlic and everything on them that sometimes it stops the bag from melt sealing closed. That looks good to me. You'll see the bag is deflating. Exactly what we want. There it is. See, there's the seal if you can see it. As I said, I'm a paranoid bunny, so I always do it twice. Yep, it's not going to seal yet. All right, let's get our sous vide on.
Okay, now it's time to fill up the pot with some hot water.
You'll notice the maximum line. You don't want to put your water above that. And there's a minimum line just below the water's edge that I don't think you can see on the video, but that's where it goes. We then turn on the sous vide. And there's the display. And I've already got it set to 57 degrees. And the water is currently 49 degrees. So if we just go on, you may notice there's a little motor, there's a little impeller in there that churns the water up to keep it moving. And there's a heating element in that shaft as well that heats the water. Now we just have to put the meat in. Off you go, son.
Thank you, BBQ.
All right. It doesn't really matter how it goes in, just as long as it's completely submerged. So we'll come back in a couple of hours and you'll get to see what it looks like.
See you then. Okay, let's get started with our potatoes. First, we run them under some water and then we start peeling them. Next, we'll cut them up into itty bitty pieces and then boil them in a nice bath of water with a bit of bicarb soda. Now we're going to cut them up into bite-sized pieces. Into boiling water, add 1 teaspoon of bicarb soda to every 2 liters of water and add salt to taste. So the way to stop splashing water is to put your cutting board over the top of your pot and then just slide them in how I'm doing now. Okay, now we boil the potatoes for 10 minutes. It's been 10 minutes, time to put these bad boys in the fridge.
In the fridge? These have been out of the water for about 5 odd minutes and you can see the little whiteness on the edges? See that? That is a very, very dry potato indeed. There's some kind of technical term, but I don't know what it is. The short answer is that's what you're after. So now we're going to put the potatoes in the fridge for a couple of hours, and when it comes time to cook them later, I'll show you how I do that.
Welcome back. These potatoes have been in the fridge for about 3 odd hours, and it takes about 45 minutes to an hour to get them nice and brown. Don't worry about the brown color. It's just from the oxidization of the sugars, and it's nothing to worry about. It won't come up in your cook. So let's get started. The first step is to melt a generous slab of butter in a cup. After that, just add some garlic infused olive oil and whatever herbs you want. I like thyme and rosemary, so that's what I'm going to add. now we just add the potatoes into a big mixing bowl and add the mixture in with it. Now all you have to do is just stir your potatoes through until they're all nicely coated in your mixture. Now just line a baking tray and pour your potatoes on them. Just spread them out evenly until they've all got a nice little space to breathe. Now we're preparing our broccolini. Now after you've cut out your broccolini, all you need to do is just tear away these leaves.
What leaves are those?
They're leaves that don't taste good. Okay, now it's time to julienne the carrots. Yes. Some people could say that we're cheating by microwaving these, but these are the quickest and best way we've found to do them.
Alright, it's been 6 hours in the sous vide. Come and have a look, and you can't really tell by looking at it. I mean, it's just a piece of meat in a bag at this point in time. But we set it to 57 degrees. I know I said 55 earlier. I set it to 57 because 55 is a little bit too rare for some members of this household, so I just jacked it up 2 degrees as a throwing a, we're going to keep everybody happy. What we're going to do now is take our sous vide out. So we just turn it off, lift it up. There we go, just stroke out the water. It's only 57 degrees, so you can put your hand into it. It's not particularly hazardous. And there it is, see? Okay, we're just going to take the meat out of the bag now. Now you can keep that fluid if you want it, but I don't actually ever have a need for it. So what we're going to do now is we're going to sear off this meat on it. See how it's grey? It doesn't look very nice at all. It smells okay and it'll be tender as, but what we want to do is give it a bit of colour. So I've got the barbie outside firing up. We're going to sear it on both sides and then cut huge thick steaks and sear them off as well. It's going to be lovely, you'll see. We've got our carrots boiling away and we're going to blanch our broccolini any second now. There's a pile. Add some salt. But let's go sear off that steak. So what we're going to do now is sear off the steak to give it some nice beautiful colour. I've been using grapeseed oil because of the high smoke point, and you always want to use a little bit of oil simply because it assists in transferring the heat between the plate and the meat. You don't need to use too much. I know that this is the hot part of the plate and I want it to go to the hottest part. So we're just going to sear it off there. Here we are. Now that's 57 degrees all the way through, which is rare as. I could leave this piece of meat on the plate for a couple of minutes each side easy and have no trouble with it cooking all the way through. So I'm just going to close it, leave it there for 2 or 3 minutes, and whilst it's searing off on that side, we'll go and do some more work on the broccolini. We're going to blanch the broccolini now for about 4 minutes. So that's just putting it into boiling water, a bit of salted boiling water. I'll get my little timer, somewhere around here. I'll get my timer going. We'll blanch off for 4 minutes, strain it, and then we'll sear that off on the barbecue as well. We're doing lemon garlic broccolini. It's absolutely lovely. You've got to see it. It's been a couple of minutes now. We're just going to turn this over. So look, that's the sous vide side with no searing. Have a look at this. There you go. Beautiful, nice bit of sear on that. We're just going to put some colour on this side. And then what we're going to do is cut it into beautiful thick steaks. Okay, our carrots are just finished. We're going to drain them off. And I think we mentioned earlier that we're doing honeyed carrots. That's the easiest thing in the world. And I'll show you how we do that as well. And the best part about it is that it takes very little time or effort, but puts a nice bit of flavour into your carrots for kids who might not like them too much, and hell, even adults who want a little bit of flavour. There you go. Just a big blob of honey and let the steam and everything else do the work. So give that a bit of a shake, all down the bottom. There you go, just leave them there. Oh, no, see, look at that. We're too much with the grain. You've got to cut against the grain. So that's and see how beautifully red that is? And that was done to 57. So I think we're going this way. Oh, there you go. That's the money. Look at that. All right, so we're going to cut some beautiful, crazy thick steaks that you could never cut otherwise. We might save them and just eat them ourselves. What do you reckon? There we go. Our broccolini's blanched. So we're just going to drain it off. Let's have a look at this. So we're going to turn these. There you go, see? There it is, and we'll take out the smaller pieces. And this guy's done as well, so I'll just put him out. Now we're going to do the broccolini. We just sear that on the barbecue. Close the lid again. And once that's finished, we'll add a little bit of salt and a little bit of just squeezy lemon out of the bottle. We are almost ready to serve up. So here's our potatoes from earlier. Look how beautiful they are. We're going to serve up some potatoes. Barbecue Mum's here, but she doesn't want to be in the video. So I'm just going to serve up 2 plates and we'll do a demonstration. Want to try one?
Oh, yes.
Oh, there you go. Give your carrots another bit of a whirl. So we just flip our broccolini over. And what I do at this point is I add the lemon. And we'll just let that sear off. So I tell you what, I think this is Barbecue Son's piece. What do you reckon?
I reckon so.
There you go. Now let that do a little bit more cook, alright. There we go. That's him. Some broccolini. Alrighty. Okie dokie, and this is the final product. We have rump cap that's been sous vide for 6 hours, then seared off on a super hot barbecue. We've got some beautiful, beautiful garlic butter here. Super duper crunchy potatoes. You can see how crunchy they are there. Honeyed carrots and broccolini done in garlic, olive oil and lemon. Jump in, what do we got? I'm always doing the meat first. Oh. Yeah. Mmm. The best part about the rump cap is when you sous vide it always comes out super duper tender. And then when you sear it off, you get beautiful colours and flavours. What do you think?
Just as good as you always make it.
I got to say, I do this pretty commonly within the household. And our son asked us to make a video of it to show all you lovely people how it works. What's the broccolini like? Oh yeah, not bad, not bad. And then finally a potato. Yeah. Right. You're not going to get a more crunchy potato than that. That is fantastic. And as I said, the secret is bicarb soda. 1 teaspoon of bicarb soda per 2 litres of water when you're boiling up your potatoes. You're not cooking the potatoes, you're just boiling them for about 10 minutes, then in the fridge, and then out, and then cook them in the oven with garlic and herbs and salt, as to your preference. Well look, I've done enough talking, and I think Barbecue Mum wants to get into and eat her meal as well. So is that all we got to say?
I think it is.
There it is. Well look, thank you son. I couldn't have done it without you. It's been a great meal, and I'm looking forward to getting tucked in. You have a good one. See you.
See you.